Hello and welcome to our fourth Mist Life event. And what an event. We have here in the studio Gaby. Gaby is my trusted partner in this venture in getting AIDE into the market in EMEA, together with our AIDE team, where we have some of my colleagues on chat to help with all your questions and answers that you're looking for. Today we are celebrating something, because with 8 days short, literally 1 year ago, we did our first Mist Life event, and this was truly a live event. It was not yet really COVID. It was not as restricted as the last 12 months, and we really, at that time, did a live installation. Gabe, do you remember how was that? What was the tagline from our customer?
It was fast and furious. It was a great installation, right managed from out of the cloud and driven by artificial intelligence. And at that time, it was wireless only. And it's great to have you all here now to show you how we are expanding as a platform throughout of the Juniper portfolio, and where we are bringing benefits to our customers. So today, we really are looking forward to bring you all the benefits AI can bring to you as a customer and to your organization based on our reference customers today, from retail going into education and into healthcare and so on. So I wish you all a very pleasant call for today, and I'm very excited to be here. So, Jan?
Yeah, fast and furious, Gabe. Awesome, thank you very much. So almost one candle that we can blow out. And our tagline today is about the past, the present, and the future. The past is the past. We cannot change this, but we can change the present, and we can provide to you the network for the next decade. And this is what you're going to see today. We're going to see today what is our AIDE story. We're going to have all presenters from our side. What is the AI-driven enterprise? What is this all about? We're going to have some really cool testimonials from smaller customers to really large deployments. We have, for example, the University of Reading for you lined up. We have for you a hospital in the Azores, the island in front of Portugal, lined up. Volker Wessels Telecom, a very large construction company out of the Netherlands. We also have Bonnier News out of Sweden, a news agency where everything is mission critical. You cannot waste too much time to troubleshoot. 15 minutes and you're old news. You have to have mission criticality. And last but not least, BP. This is one of the installations that we've won in Europe. We're very proud of, and we're going to have our friends from BP talking how they experienced the transition from the past to today, to the present, and how are we going to work into the future. And then we have a surprise act for you. We were brainstorming, Gabe and myself, we were brainstorming, how can we give you something back? How can we give you something back memorable? It could be sunglasses, it could be a cup, it could be something. However, we have something really nice for you in our March. Now, if you look into a network you need to migrate. You need to constantly migrate. It could be migrating from an existing vendor that you have to the same vendor. Yeah, but it's painful. It's not really simple. That is day zero. We really want to have, with our technology, we want to make your life a lot easier. Next step is, once you did your migration, you need to operate the network. That's what we call day one. Yeah, operating a network is not always an easy thing to do. You know, upgrades, security patches, all these things. It's a very tedious work and a very tedious process. We have mechanisms to really make that simple and easy. We have customers that upgraded 30,000 APs in less than 3 hours. Yes, you heard that well, 30,000 APs in less than 3 hours. We have customers that install 2,000 APs overnight, or just network devices overnight. It is really simple, and you will hear through the testimonials how these customers really made their migration and operations really fast. And once everything is there, you got to troubleshoot your network. Problems will occur. People will forget their passwords. New devices will cause new problems. And with that day-end operations, we really want to make sure that you have a fast path to troubleshooting. For us, what we see is that operating a network, driving that network, it should be a breeze. It should be with a smile on your face. It should be easy. And if this is music to your ears, please stay tuned with us, because that is the journey we're going to take over the next 2 hours. Enough said on this. Talking about music. We have here today a live performance on stage. It's Astrid Stockman, world famous in Belgium, as I know. She has been doing operas across the world, I've been told, but she has a voice of an angel. And we're going to start with, I think, a very, very interesting song. And it's called I Want to Break Free by Astrid Stockman. And the reason why I chose this song is that let's break free from the past and let's talk and let's continue with the network of the next decade. Astrid, the floor is yours.
I want to break free. I want to break free. I want to break free from your lies. You're so self-satisfied, I don't need you. I've got to break free. God knows I want to break free. I've fallen in love. I've fallen in love for the first time. This time I know it's for real. I've fallen in love. And God knows, yeah, God knows I've fallen in love. It's strange, but it's true. I can get over the way you love me like you do, but I have to be sure when I walk through that door. Oh, how I want to be free. Oh, how I want to be free. Oh, how I want to break free.
Did I say voice of an angel? It is truly a voice of an angel. Amazing. Thank you, Astrid, for this performance. This is really wonderful. Next on our agenda, I want to give the chance to our Senior Director for Partners and Partner across EMEA and CALA. It's Sander Groot. Sander wants to address here our partner community and thank them for all their contribution. And for the customers on the phone, or on the webinar, please reach out to those partners. Please reach out to all the people that can help you breaking free from the past and go to install with us, together with us, the network of the next decade. With this said, Sander, please take it away.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Mist Live. My name is Sander Groot, and within Juniper, I'm responsible for our partner organization in EMEA and in CALA. And I have a special welcome message for our dear partners. Dear partners, I want to thank you for 3 things. I want to thank you for being with us on a journey around Mist, a fantastic journey. Second, I want to thank you for getting behind and becoming very enthusiastic already around new Juniper technologies. And thirdly, zooming in on the here and now, I want to thank you for everything you have done to promote this event to your end user base, making the end users and the prospects enthusiastic to jump on this fantastic event. And then for the end users, rest assured that Juniper will continue to work with the partners to make sure that we develop skills and know-how to best serve you around Mist and Juniper technologies. At Juniper, it's all around the best possible end user experience. At Juniper, we also find it very important to promote proof of concepts. If you're an end user on this call and you're not fully convinced yet then please challenge us, and please challenge your partner as well to demonstrate what we have to offer, to showcase it. We truly believe that seeing is believing. And what we want to show you, again, is the best possible user experience. With that said, I wish you a fantastic Mist Life, and I hope to see you soon in the field. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks, Sander. Hey, seeing is believing, and I truly live by that. If there are any people on the call here right now that have been in presentations with me, it's all about seeing is believing. And Gaby, let's do the proof of the pudding here. Take your left hand and rub it over your chin. Rub it over your chin. Yeah. All right. Your chin is here, Gaby. It's here. You know. So you see, seeing is believing. People see things and they follow. They don't hear what you say. So this is one of the things that we're going to do. We're going to show you today how we do this. We're going to show it through customer testimonials. We're going to show it through demos that we're going to do. And that said, I want to invite here, after a little video from Reading University, we're going to invite Stuart Brown. But before we're going to go there, I want to give to the audience here a grasp on what is now the University of Reading? My apologies, I said Reading University. It should be University of Reading. With a little video, how large this university is and how, where we have installed our network. So please, if we could run the video for University of Reading. All right. If all is well, we have Stuart Brown on the webinar. Hi, Stuart. Hey, how is life over there?
How are you?
We are awesome. How about yourself? Thank you.
I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah, man, I envy you. What a beautiful location to work for, or work in, or work at. Who knows? But Stuart, first and for all, big thank you for you to take the opportunity out of your busy agenda to share with us and with our customers here what your experience is on Juniper Mist. And as we said, our tagline is past, present, and future. So before we're going to take that away, maybe some words about yourself. What do you do, and how did you got in touch with Mist? And maybe also, what was your past experience?
Sure. So, I'm the Director of Digital Technology Services at University of Reading. I've been there about 3 years, and I think it's fair to say in the first 2 years, it was very much sort of troubleshooting, keeping the lights on, and quite a lot of critical incidents happening on a regular basis. And that's something that I was kind of brought in as a remit to try and sort out. We had an arrangement and a relationship with Juniper on the firewall side, but we hadn't really pushed that any further. And I was keen to understand a little bit more about the services offered and what we might be able to do about some of the creaking infrastructure we've got, particularly around the Wi-Fi side of things. And that's kind of how, we've got our existing Wi-Fi provider was coming up to renewal. We had about a year or so left on it. And I thought, I've got to write a new digital strategy for this place. And we started tinkering with Bluetooth technology, and it was a bit clunky, and we had to put batteries in them, and just getting all that kind of, buy into it was quite challenging. And it was a colleague actually that came to me and said to me, look, there's this Mist product that might actually tick a few boxes of some of the things you're thinking about in terms of digital strategy, in terms of location services and that kind of thing. And so I asked him to just sort of find out a little bit more, and that's how we started to forge that relationship with Mist particularly, and we started a proof of concept in our library just before the pandemic came about.
Yeah. So a couple of things that I hear, Stuart, is first and for all, you had some Wi-Fi need, But I also heard you talking about location services, a need for that. So how did those two products, the Wi-Fi and then the location, is built into one device? I know that for sure. But how did this really help you? What was your improvement in the current present with your network and your team in troubleshooting or giving other extra added value services to your end customers, the students and professors, so to speak?
Yeah, so we're not annoyingly, we're not quite there yet on that first understanding of it. I mean, basically we've pushed out, we've built all the access points. It's about 1,000 or so of those. We've pushed out to some of our locations already, but I'm really keen to try and get once those actual Bluetooth beacons on the walls on our main campus. We've had a few problems with trying to get some of our estates colleagues and the third parties we use to get those APs up on the walls. But as soon as they are, and we're ready for the starter terminal in the autumn, I'm really looking to see what we can do with that. We can go into details.
Yeah, so we could pass to the future maybe in a moment, but what I want to share here is we have Gaby, he's the VP for our EMEA sales. So Gaby, if you could maybe share a little bit on how the sales cycle went with Reading, and maybe also Stuart, you could put some color on your experience. But Gaby, how was this? If you bring it from the first time we met them to today, how do we go about this?
Well, yeah, that's actually, thank you for that, Jan. We started off with University of Reading through an existing relationship, right? And you start to talk about basic Wi-Fi and so on. But what really helped, in my view, is that we had a very grown-up conversation with the University of Reading, including the partner to Actions at over there to get really acquainted to what the really business drivers are for the University of Reading, right? On how to engage with the university, with the students on the university, with a changing environment like we're facing today, that has bring that into a rapidly changing environment, right? So to say, and also just to do more with less, right? So really a consultative approach, which was, I think, a very successful way of working together.
Great. All right. Stuart, we have here customers and partners on our call. Could you maybe put some color on how important was your relationship with your partner on this venture? I'm pretty sure you were not alone in getting this done. If I'm not mistaken, this was Axions, your partner in this deal. So how did that go?
Oh, that's absolutely true. I mean, the relationship of trying was really useful throughout the building of the business case. I mean, it's not a trivial amount of money that was spent in replacing our Wi-Fi, and we could have replaced like for like at similar sort of prices. But actually, I wanted to push that sort of Bluetooth technology a bit further, and I wanted the evidence, sort of the business value, to be demonstrated to the board that I was trying to get approval from. And actually, that close relationship between Axions and also with the Juniper Mist guys as well, just some material I could use, some other examples of what others have been doing, certainly in MIT, that really helped.
Yep.
Sort of rubber stamp the thinking here. And actually, it was probably one of the easiest business cases I've ever had to present. It was all over and done within about 10 minutes. So our chief finance officer said, just get on with it. And I think she saw the vision of how we could really add some real value here, and actually make some really good efficiencies in terms of time and space around that AI engine as well.
Yeah. Wow. So I heard one box solution for Wi-Fi location. I heard easy and simple. I heard awesome relationship between partner and the vendor. Sounds like a recipe for a good future. So how do you see your future with Juniper Mist and your partner?
Well, once we're set up, I mean, the possibilities are kind of endless in terms of that location services capability. I mean, I had a meeting this morning with our major incident team. We're still going through how we're going to return to campus again. We're still talking about ventilation and spaces. And I'm sitting there in the background going, we've got a Wi-Fi solution with Bluetooth that will tell us where the students are, will tell us where the staff are. And if we get some IoT eventually plugged into it as well, we'll start understanding what those ventilation rates are and the amount of space we've got of people in those spaces. And then we'll get a good view. I can actually tell them through analytics which spaces need to have windows open or need more ventilation.
Yeah.
So it's that side of things. Obviously, from a student journey perspective and student experience perspective, we're talking about well-being. We're talking about being able to see a student's journey with us. So whether they're touching points in the library, in study space, all those kinds of things, and digital wayfinding could be put this way. We've got really big campus, you've probably just seen from that video, and actually just getting yourself around it is pretty tricky for a new student. So again, just putting all that onto an app, using the technology is really good. And I guess from my perspective, I've got a team of people that hate the start of term. Mm-hmm. They're literally in a 6-week cycle of answering phone calls about the plethora of devices that students have, 10 devices, I want my Xbox, my whatever, plugged in. And just to reduce the number of calls we get by having that kind of AI engine behind it, trying to sort stuff out for us on our behalf before they even, log a ticket. Yeah. That's the kind of value add stuff that I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Yeah. No, this is great. To me, it seems like you have a solid foundation to really build a future on in terms of connectivity, providing good support, but also coming back to school, coming back to university, where you could start monitoring, the health and safety of your students, your staff, and so on and so on. That's amazing. That is really music to my ears, and thanks for sharing that. Maybe any last words, Stuart, for the audience that we have here? Is there anything you want to say, hey man, this really stand out?
Look, this stuff works. So we have done a little bit of deployment already, say 100 or 200 APs. It is, as Jan, you say, it's pretty straightforward. The hardest bit is actually getting someone to help us stick them on the wall. Yeah. So that's one point. I would also say some people are probably thinking about ethics, especially those that are from an education perspective. How do we do this in an ethical way that students are happy for us to do some sort of monitoring for their well-being? And we're going to take a very, very case-by-case approach to that. And I think you have to. And you have to give the students the options to opt in and opt out, but you've got to sell the value of it, and hopefully they won't. But yeah.
This is truly amazing. Well, Stuart, we are at the end of our time that we can use, but again, thank you very much for your business. Thank you very much for the participation here. Gaby, maybe some last words from you to Stuart?
Yeah, no, Stuart, thank you very much. As said, really enjoy the partnership. And definitely all the new cool things we can bring to your university and your students and stuff. So thank you again.
All right, great. Thank you, Stuart. And I really look forward to he's gone. I really look forward to get a beer one day with you, as we all do. Now, next on our agenda, if all is well, we have Christian Gilby. Christian, are you there?
I am.
Hey, Christian. Oh my God. I really want to thank you because you are based in Cupertino or maybe Sunnyvale, at least California. It is for you, if I'm not mistaken, 6:24 in the morning. So really, really big thank you very much for speaking to our audience. Christian, he's our Director of Product Marketing. And he's going to share what is our vision and strategy to really build that AI-driven enterprise. Christian, thank you very much for getting up this early. Take it away.
You bet. Thanks a lot. So excited, to talk today about AI-driven enterprise. And if you look at what are the challenges today, I mean, go into many customers when I'm talking to folks, you hear the Wi-Fi doesn't work, or I can't get to the internet, or my applications. So customers are dealing with a lot of issues here. And the problem is, when you look at it, I mean, take a great example in the past year, as Jan said, with a lot of us working from home, is we're on these Teams or Zoom calls. And you look at Bob Friday, our CTO, he's having an issue. So what's the issue? It could be Wi-Fi, right? And that's what usually gets blamed, because that's the thing that my laptop or my smartphone's connected to. But it could be something on the wired network. Maybe there's an issue with DNS or DHCP from the internet provider. or there's a server cloud issue, or maybe it's even the client device. So my smartphone that I'm connecting with, or my laptop, and it's painful to understand. And that's one of the problems traditionally. I mean, I've been doing Wi-Fi since 2002. Hence no hair here dealing with Wi-Fi issues. But that was one of the crux of when Bob and Sujay founded Mist. It was really about how do we understand what the experience is for the user, the IoT device, and then really get the network running and the experience great. How do we do that? We do that with what we call the experience first network. And you'll see this message start to come out from us at Juniper and Mist here, is we're really about optimizing both user experiences, but also IT experiences. So as you look at managing the network, more and more devices coming on, how do we make it simpler to manage and operate? And we do that with our client to cloud. So basically, we've developed this platform in our Juniper Mist cloud architecture, as well as Marvis, which is our AI assistant, to really look at what that experience is end to end, all the way from the client out to the cloud, or let's say in your headquarters office, what's going on with the network. And ultimately, we want to understand and get insight into what's going on with the user or the device. And then we automate that and turn it into actions. So where if we find there's an issue, as you'll hear from a lot of these customers, is the system will actually identify root cause it and either go and resolve the issue or at least flag it to your IT team so you know what the problem is and how I can go and resolve it. Now, if we look at why customers, and we have customers all the way up to several of the Fortune 10 down to the smaller distributed customers, why are they choosing Juniper Mist? And it's around 4 pillars. I mean, the first one is around client visibility. And this is where our AI platform comes to bear. And combining it with our APs, where we're detecting and pulling data from over 150 pre and post connection states to really understand what the experience is. Can Jan get on the network and actually connect and walk around the building or not? So basically understand the experience and then translating that with AI into automating the operations. When there is a problem, be able to flag that to the IT team or even resolve it. Let's say we have a missing VLAN, be able to actually go and resolve that issue on the network. And then it's built on a microservices cloud for agility. What does that mean? Basically look at years, and as I said, I've been doing Wi-Fi since 2002. Traditionally, we've been doing this as vendors with what we call wireless LAN controllers, and they were great for a time in the early days. But I think what's changed is you look at the environment today, you've got all of these mobile devices coming in, IoT devices, and you've got new devices and apps coming every day. You've got to have the agility. Take this happened, it was about a month or two ago, there was a security weakness detected in the network. And frag attack is what it was called. And a couple of years ago, before there was crack attack. And basically, we were able to pivot, release software to customers. So they were actually, on the day that vulnerability was released, they were able to update the cloud platform without an impact to users. That is game changing. So that's why it's so important to really evolve to this microservice cloud, to have that agility. And then it's all about delivering better experiences. So this is where we tie in our patented virtual BLE or Bluetooth Low Energy to do things like indoor navigation. We actually pivoted in the past year and helped customers make environments safer with our contact tracing. So when there were people coming in, let's say you had somebody with a positive test result, be able to alert employees who were near that other person. Really to keep it safer as you go back to work and get people and customers in the office. So the last thing I wanted to touch on here is what is the solution? And Jan and team will go into more detail, but it starts from our Juniper Mist Cloud. As I said, it's built on AI because you want to get that insight and translate it into action. And then it's delivered through these services. So depending on the network elements, be it Wi-Fi, wired, or WAN, we've got a set of subscription services. And then powering that through Marvis. So Marvis is our virtual network assistant, where, for example, one of our customers, ServiceNow, they've cut down the end user opened help desk tickets by over 90%. And how is it? It's by using Marvis. They've actually automated it. So they actually ask Marvis throughout the day, are there any users with issues? And if it flags there are, they'll go and investigate the issue. in most cases, they're actually solving customer issues and end users before they even know there's a problem. That is transformative. How do we deliver it? Deliver it across the platform. So on the wireless side, we've got a set of APs here across. Depending on the environment, AP12 has been one of interest lately for your remote or home workers. AP43 and 63 are really our flagship APs, able to deploy indoor, outdoor, and then powered across the Juniper EX infrastructure. So I just wanted to wrap up here with a couple quotes from some of our customers, a few of these by name. Some of them are not public references. I talked about one. Gap is a great example. So they're a national retailer, actually international as well. They have reduced site visits to their stores by 85%. That is the power of AI. So they're able to proactively identify an issue, and using one of our features, which if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend checking out a demo, dynamic packet capture. When we see there's an issue, the platform will actually save a packet trace so you can go and trace it. Let's say it was 5 hours ago. You could have effectively go back in time and resolve that issue. Nobody in the industry is able to do that today. MIT is another great example. In the past year, we've rolled out a full campus refresh there, similar to you heard from University of Reading. I mean, it's really transformative. I mean, Mark, who's the CIO here, it's like we woke up from a dream watching Mist roll out, and it's really been changing the experience for students. Dartmouth is another great example with Marvis. So they've cut down the number of tickets that get escalated through the IT team by a factor of 10. So thanks again. Enjoy the discussion today. I'm really excited to hear from more of our customers how they've rolled it out. And back to you, Jan.
Hey, Christian, thank you very much. So if I understood you well, first and for all, it's user experience first. Everything we do is in terms of user experience, correct?
Yep.
Check, that is done. How do we get there? Is really by building an extensible, extendable, and agile infrastructure. Meaning, even though there was a security breach in one of the APs or just in the industry in general, we were able to fix that within 24 hours. Check. Christian?
Yes.
Excellent.
Check.
And then, the last thing is, having this migration, having this upgrade, we started off here with what are your challenges? Operating the network, migrating the network, operating the network. There was zero downtime on this one for the customers? Check?
Correct.
Excellent. You see, we really want to make network administration and network migration a breeze. Christian, many thanks. Any last words for the audience?
No, just want to say definitely recommend you listen to our customers. Also, I would get out there and try a proof of concept. Deploy Mist in an area, Juniper Mist in an area of your network, and see how it can really transform your end user experience, but also the IT experience. I think that's been the other one that's been exciting.
Seeing is believing, Christian. That's what it is, right?
Yep.
Seeing is believing. All right, Christian. Hey, many thanks. I'm going to give you back to your maybe your sleep. I didn't see your picture. Might as well you be in your pajama presenting this. Big thank you very much. And this has been huge. Appreciate it. Thanks, Christian. All right. The next testimonial we're having. We had a very large university that has deployed us. But it's not only for big networks. Christian just gave some examples of large companies. Predominantly, they were US. We have equally, as you saw on the 4-pillar slides, we have Leroy Merlin, we have Dunelm, we have all these other customers. Dunelm, we did a migration from a year, we moved it down to 4 months. Then you can say, so what? Well, this is so important because we give you back time, to really complete other programs. Having a network, a good network, is a competitive advantage. The industry is not standing still. It's about digitization. It's about moving things faster than the competition. So we want you to be on that cutting edge, and we can help you there. If all is well, we have, Ricardo Arruda from Azores Hospital in the ocean before, just outside of Portugal. But before we're going to go there, we're going to play a little video on the hospital itself, how it looks like, that you can have a grasp on how this, what is that facility and how we get there. And then we're going to interview Ricardo on how he experienced, the past, the present, and then the future. Please, if we could roll the video. Wow, what a nice facility. Ricardo, bom dia.
Hi, Anne. Thank you for the introduction. I want to say two quick things. First of all, I would like to apologize everyone who's watching us because I haven't practiced my English, but I will give my best so you can understand me. And the second thing is, I don't think it's fair that the first time I speak to so many people in English, it's with a Belgian. So the last time Portugal met Belgium, we were knocked out of Euro, but let's see how it goes today.
Well, let's hope it's not too much of a punishment. So, Ricardo, again, please, I think your English is 5,000 times better than my Portuguese. It stops with bom dia and obrigado, and then a lot of crap words that people teach me when I'm on vacation there that I don't want to call out loud here. But Ricardo, again, many, many thanks for taking this opportunity to be with us here. And we would like to learn from you, because that very nice facility that you have, and you're there doing the network, designing the network. How did you first get in contact with Juniper Mist? And how was that experience for you?
Yes, we got in touch with Mist through Glint, that is a Mist partner. And we scheduled a demo with the Mist engineering team. And our first impression was really good, because we have a very short team, a heavy workload because we are opening an hospital from the scratch, and so we have to optimize our time. On top of that, we were looking for a solution that help us do asset tracking. That was the first objective. Of course, we have many plans in the future, because Mist opened us many doors, many possibilities, because it integrates with the BLE equipment, and so there are numerous possibilities, of course.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So you got in touch through Wind, a partner, awesome. Now, you're not migrating from an existing network to another network, but how was your experience really rolling out the deployment? And how did Wind actually help with you in making that happen? So from a design to a configuration to the deployment. Could you share something about that?
Yes, of course. Because of this pandemic, we couldn't have Mist team on the field. But as this solution is very easy to deploy, there wasn't any problem with doing this remotely. So our team did all the physical installation, and then with 2 or 3 calls with Mist engineering team, we could design all the APs location and all of that, and proceed to the installation. So this solution it's so easy to deploy that we just schedule like 3-4 calls with Mist engineering team because it's very intuitive.
Hold on. Just a moment here. Time out, Ricardo. What did I hear you say? The installation was a breeze, as I told it. It should be almost with a cocktail in your hand. No traveling to the island of Azores, even though I'm pretty sure it's a very beautiful island. Limited amount of calls, really fast to deploy. Wow.
Yes.
I saved you time and money, right?
Yes.
Excellent.
Sure did.
Excellent. So that's amazing. Last but not least, you have this beautiful facility. I heard you say about BLE. We were in COVID and all these things, and I'm pretty sure it was a tough time for a hospital opening this up in COVID and getting the things running. How do you see your future? I know there is something in locationing and so on, but how do you see the future, Hospital Azores together with Juniper Mist?
Yes, I think the future will be bright because, as I told before, this platform opens us many possibilities. We have many future projects with this platform, so we want to explore the Blue Dot technology to when a client arrives to the hospital. With our app, we can integrate the wireless system. The location system, so the client can be receive a push notification to see, oh, Jan, welcome. You have a medical appointment. Do you want me to take you there? Okay, and the Wi-Fi will do the guidance to the final destination. So we have many possibilities. We want to do the maximum automation possible to make the customer experience enjoyable.
Excellent. Well, hey, Ricardo, so many thanks. I think this was an awesome interview. And hey, I could a little bit, it sounds like you were from Portugal, but for the rest it was perfect, And in 4 years we probably meet again, but hopefully then in real life on a football game somewhere. And let's make it a tide, that there is no friction.
Let's hope Portugal win the next time.
Yes. All right. Thank you for your business, Ricardo. Thank you very much. But Gabe, yes, if you look into we've seen a large university campus. We have also seen now a larger hospital. But tell me, from your sales experience, is it only larger deployments we can do?
Yeah, thanks, Jan. That's a really good point you're making, right? One of the real benefits what's come out of these testimonials is that we are very easy to deploy. And through the automation we bring through our AI platform, right? That word has also fallen multiple times already. We're delivering AI services from a platform managed from out of the cloud, the most modern cloud, which is available here at this globe. And the really cool thing is that the solution is very scalable, right? From one AP. Or 2 access points connected into one EX switch, moving into, let's say, a couple of locations with SRX and the wide area network on top of that. And then the 128 session-based routing software on top of that gives you a full experience already for a very small deployment, which can be easily scaled up through thousands and 10,000s of devices and end users throughout this globe, whether they are connected through a wireless system or a wired infrastructure, right? So that's very important to note that that Mist is really having that momentum, bringing on into the market right now.
Yeah, thank you, Gabe. This is amazing, and this is truly what we do. This is truly it. I have in my home network, I have had so many benefits. Just supporting my kids and all the IoT devices in my home, where sometimes you cannot just connect a device. I had one of my colleagues, he's actually an operation officer in EMEA, by the name of Paul Gibbs. Paul, if you're looking, now you're officially in the air. But he had issues with connecting one of his set-top boxes. And in no time, he could figure it out with our platform what was wrong and got it connected with now a great user experience. And the biggest customer we have is now having 160,000 network devices in control in our platform, and it's counting every day 2,000 more. That being said, I want to now, if all is well, we have my colleague, new colleague, Sebastian Hoffmann on the call.
Hi, Jan. How are you?
Hey, Sebastian. I'm doing great. Thank you. How about yourself?
I'm good as well. Thank you.
Yeah. You hear the enthusiasm in the voice of Sebastian. He's a true believer of our really end-to-end, client-to-cloud user experience. And Sebastian is one of my colleagues, new colleagues, that we got through the purchase of 128 technology, which is now SSR, Session Smart Routing. And Sebastian will tell you all about it. Take it away, Sebastian. And thanks for joining on this call.
Thank you, Jan, for the introduction. Then let me walk you through today's challenges you got in modern WAN networks, right? I mean, traditionally, this was really focused on connecting things to each other, right? But nowadays, right, we need to modernize the WAN network, which means, I mean, currently, right, experience first. As we already heard in the previous sessions, right? It's all about the user experience, right? I mean, this was not there when networks were designed, right? When Technics was designed, it was all regarding connectivity to sites to each other, maybe machines to each other. That's it, right? Then secondly, right, I mean, with the area of the cloud, this is really needed that you have cloud-enabled technologies, right? And as well a WAN which understands what a cloud or to connect to the cloud, what's there required. And then last but not least, right, it has to be secured, right? Because, I mean, we heard recently the security breach in one of the vendors in the US, right, where it was a disaster, right? I mean, security is really there, and you have to have the knowledge about what actually happens on the network, right? Because nowadays hackers are around the door, right, and waiting to sneak in your network. And there is, of course, security and SASE are there the buzzwords which are there. Last but not least, right, it needs to be scaling, right? I mean, due to the workload nowadays, if you want to push any data, if you are doing number crunching in the, for example, for every end of the month, you want to crunch some bills into a compute instance, right? You really need to scale this up, right? Because only there you have high workloads, and otherwise, why you have a system there which is capable of handling several gigabits when now under normal sunny conditions you only get 100 megabits towards the cloud. It doesn't make sense, right? So that's why it's the agility in scaling is important nowadays, and of course, last but not least, right? The deep visibility and insights. As mentioned already, you want to know what actually happens in your network. And this is basically as well and here two things meet, right? The Mist part, right? And as well the Session Smart Routers, even if there are two different companies in the beginning, right? They basically breathe the same air, so to say, right? And have the same idea what's going on and what you want to archive, right? It's basically, I mean, client to cloud, so to say. And for that, you really need to have the visibility and insight what's happening in your network so that you can interact with it. If you want to change traffic, you want to maybe block something, or you need to troubleshoot something. For that, you have to have really the visibility and the insights are required there. And how do you, I mean, this could be, of course, done as well with traditional solutions, right? But I mean, there's obviously some things you could do better. And that's why there's basically, we need to start a new conversation of how to connect those things to each other and how you could leverage basically the idea here, right? And for that, we invented the Session Smart Networks. That's basically as well the thing, how my introduction here started, right? It's really the idea of session smart networking. And I mean, traditional technologies, which are most likely tunnel-based, they don't know anything about sessions, right? It's here, I mean, these techniques was really designed, as mentioned, for connecting things to each other. And that's why we invented basically the idea of sessions, so that gives you really the fine granularity to look at individual flows and take actions on those. And as Jan mentioned, right, or we saw it in the previous slide deck, there was a question, why was the Zoom call bad, right? I mean, with the traditional solutions with a tunnel, you most likely could not tell, right? Because there is a big pipe where all the data is in there, right? But with the idea of a session, you could really see, okay, this was my Zoom call and I had a latency or a jitter value of this one. And of course, it's as well important, Jan's call could have different SLAs than mine call, right? Mine could be now better than his because I'm presenting. But after I finished with presenting, maybe Jan's call should be better on video. And that's why it's really important to make it on an individual session and take actions on those. And for that, basically, I mean, it's transforming the router and transforming the network with the session smart router. As mentioned, the legacy world, all other competitors are using even Juniper, right, for their SD-WAN approach is basically using tunnels, which could use different technologies, right? But this, I mean, is legacy. Protocols are old, not really designed for the user experience. And that's why we came up with a new approach, with the session smart approach. We are using a patent protocol underneath, which is called secure vector routing. We will see secure vector routing in a second under in a live network, which I built. With that, we have the visibility in session and application visibility. That's really important because that's the user experience. Nobody cares if A with B can talk. It's more how was the user experience of my Zoom call was or my Teams call, right? Where this IP connection between A and B. Then it has to be understand what a cloud is, right? It has to be agile and mobile. And those systems should, in the end, look like a normal site. And we will see this in my demonstration. I have 2 routers in different cloud providers connected, and the look and feel they have will basically look as they would be on a promise site or an edge site. Last but not least, tunnel free. And this is really the differentiator against others. As mentioned, we are using basically our secret sauce here is that we have invented a new protocol, right, which is as secure as IPsec, but it doesn't have so same encryption techniques. But the real difference is here that we are not relying on the IPsec protocol itself, right? Because this protocol is old and has not really the benefit here, so that we invented this new protocol, which basically allows you to do a tunnel-free approach, which has dramatically impact, right? Because it's first, we don't have to maintain any tunnels, so it scales heavily, right? Second, it saves bandwidth. Due to that, we have the concept of sessions, right? So that means from the second packet onwards, we don't need to carry any extra header with it. So that makes it really bandwidth savings up to 30 to 50%. And if you're going really small packets, right, on a satellite, right, everybody knows having over those connections an IPsec tunnel plus transporting anything, there's basically no bandwidth for the applications itself. And this is all solved through the secure vector routing. And then last but not least, I mean, traditional, we have these parameter focused on security, right? And here we have it really zero trust security built in. That means every router is as well a firewall, right? And it has hop authentication. And it's really zero trust, which means everything you don't allow is basically blocked. And here, there's session smart routers, and I will show you quickly how the session smart router looks like. For that, I have developed basically a setup where we have a session smart conductor, right, which is basically the Atmos orchestration unit, which administrates the routers. And then you see here on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, different routers in a multi-cloud and either in a private data center or on the edge. And the good thing here is it's completely independent from the access layer. So it doesn't matter what kind of access technology you have. The session smart router will basically do topology hiding for you, so that you don't need to really care what's underneath. And this gives you really some advantages, because with that secure vector routing protocol, you even get things like a seamless session failover, which means you can migrate a session from MPLS to LTE without any interruption in your phone call, in your Zoom call, or in your download. It will simply resume or will be seamless, right? So there will be no interruption at all. The only thing where you will spot that it basically changes passes due to the different latency you might have on those links. And most important here, the session smart conductor can be either on-premise or in the cloud. And of course, due to the Mist idea, right, it will be as soon as possible as well possible to administrate the routers and get KPIs into your Mist cloud right away, so that you get as well the WAN site visible there. It's a passive component, so it doesn't have to be always on, right? You can turn it off or turn it on. All routing decisions are made on the routers itself. All right, then let me give you a second. I need to switch my screen. Hold on. There we go. And then let's have a look at the demo. For that, here you see basically a demo where I have deployed different kind of server 128Ts. I have a branch, HA head-end router, and a system in AWS and Azure. It's completely browser-based. We use as well a lot of APIs, so that's why the integration into Mist is that easy, right? Because in the end, it's machine-to-machine talking, right? What I have defined here, I have two services defined. One is in Azure, one is in AWS, and I'm sitting basically behind the branch router, and I will start now to manipulate basically the latency here, because what I will demonstrate here is my branch router is connected via LTE and a WAN connection. Let me actually go here so that we can quickly see how it works, right? We will have here some statistics, how many latency we got on the links. You see there is some variation, and I'm already sending some data over it. So I'm sending two iPerf streams. They are sharing the bandwidth. I have limited to 10 megabits per second here. And you see I'm roughly sending 10 megabits per second all the time. And I will now start a script on the right side. So where you will see basically that I'm sending some data over it, and we'll do a failover so that we can see right away that there is some latency introduced. All right, then let's start it. And then let's see that the latency increases. Oh, sorry, looks like I was timed out. Hold on. And let's start it, the session. So what I will do is basically now I will introduce some latency on the link. And what will happen is that I defined an SLA basically for my Azure traffic, which will hit at 150 milliseconds. And I have another one introduced for 30 milliseconds. So that means I'm using as a primary link basically my WAN connection, right? And then I'm going over to LTE if my path would have facing more than 150 milliseconds for my Azure-based traffic. And for my AWS traffic, I will basically migrate my traffic when there is more than 30 milliseconds latency. All right. So now it's automatically inserting additional latency. And then we will see that it switches over to the second link after a second. All right, there is a latency of 30 seconds introduced. Let's wait.
Yeah. Hey, so while this is running, this is just amazing and cool technology. So while that is in the running, so if I heard you well, Sebastian, first and for all, zero-touch security. So you have to allow the traffic that is to be passed. It's not so that we're going to open it and then you say, you know, I cannot do this, I cannot do this, I cannot do this, because you don't know what's happening. That's correct, right?
That's correct, yes.
So I really simplify this. Number two, session smart routing. It doesn't matter, you know, what link it is. We just control the session, and if a link disappeared, we're immediately back to another link, correct?
Exactly.
Wonderful. So we save a lot of time, we save a lot of money there, and it's really cool to manage. It's really cool to deploy, correct?
And it's really easy, and you can integrate it north or southbound if you want. And
awesome. This is really a breeze, and I don't want to immediately cut off your demo here. If you just could show in 2 seconds what now just happened, because we really need to move on to the next chapter. Otherwise, we're going to run into issues, because we also have now an interview in a moment, and those folks, their time is also very short. So
Sure. 2 seconds, right? So what I basically did, I introduced a latency, right? You see now I have introduced a latency of 150, right? And at the same time, you see that my traffic to, which is the orange one, to Azure increased to 30 megabits per second, which is my bandwidth I have kept on the LTE interface. And you will see there was no drop, right? It was immediately going up to 30 megabits per second.
Awesome.
And you see now my sum, which is basically 30 megabits per second on the LAN interface, which is the green one. And last but not least, I will switch over now the other link. And you see that the graphs goes down because they are both sharing, again, the bandwidth. And that's it, right? So there is no interruption at all. It runs the full time. My WAN traffic dropped. I all sending now
amazing.
over LAN.
Amazing.
Really cool.
It sounds like a no-brainer to get this done. Sebastian, again,
Exactly.
many thanks. Give your colleagues in Germany regards from me. And we now need to move to our Volker Wessels telecom team in the Netherlands. And this is special for us because literally a year ago, we were together deploying their network live in the Netherlands. So before we go and welcome the team, let's play a video. Let's do a little bit of flashback what happened last year. All right, if you can. Welcome, René. Welcome, Sander. Sander mentioned we met on some event. So what are your key takeaways of that event?
First of all is Mist wasn't a network-driven access point. It was a client-driven device, and it was a client-driven network with AI and engine, and that was really fantastic to see the first time. So that's where we started at the beginning.
So we have here now one of your first buildings that we're setting up. What are your challenges in whole Volker Wessels if you want to deploy everything? Could you give some take on that?
Well, the deployment normally takes an evening or a day at this size of location. Now we do it in 2 hours. By scripting and templating and zero-touch provisioning, that makes it really fast. Now you can do at one single site the complete stack configuration at the one time with templating and zero-touch provisioning.
If you could sum up Mist in a couple of words, what would that be?
Smart, fast, and a great experience.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you, René. Thank you, Sander. Hey, Arjen, René, are you guys there? Hello. Where are your T-shirts? Where are your T-shirts?
We got Marvis already, but you got Marvis at this moment, yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. What was it, René? Fast, smart, and a great experience. Arjen, has that been the experience so far?
Yeah, it has. It has. I think first of all, it's great to tell that for our customer Volker Wessels, they were in the first place looking for ways to simplify their operations, implementing new services and automating their offices. And for example, however, more than 1 year ago, we could not find the technology where we're looking for. And once we were introduced by Juniper and Mist AI, we found our missing puzzle piece. And that enabled us to be flexible, open to connect to third-party vendors, and also to be agile and fast in deploying our new offices using the new Juniper infrastructure. And that's not only the Mist AI technology, but also 128. Since the last 6 months that we use that kind of technology, and we can truly say that this technology is really helping us moving forward, and that's why that René says it's smart, it's fast, and it gives also a great experience.
Great experience. Thank you, Arjen. Well, we are here. This session is about the past, the present, and the future. Well, for us, the present was actually about 12 months ago, and we are living together with you guys the future, I guess, because I think, and if you can share something about it, you truly have the full stack from Juniper Mist You started with wireless, went then to wired assurance with the EX switches, and now the last piece to the puzzle, it's really that 128T or smart session routing. René or Arjen, why this choice? Because this is brand new technology. We reduce a lot of overhead, we introduce security, we introduce visibility and so on. Could you elaborate a little bit on what made you take this decision?
I think there were three specific things. It's a lower cost in the first place, more effective bandwidth, profile routing capacities.
Well, the third one also, it's client-driven technology. So it's always about the client performance data and not just the node. If you just look at the node that is on or off, it doesn't matter. It's the experience that your end user has.
Yeah.
When the end user is happy, we are happy.
Exactly. User-based experience, right? That's we delivered what we promised. So still, folks, I know past, present, future, we know each other for a longer time, but how you still see the future together now with Juniper Mist? Because I'm pretty sure you still have other plans. René, I know I promised you to enable the premium analytics. It's going to happen next week. I know you guys have acquired that subscription, but we first need to set up a call. But even besides this analytics, what else do you see us doing in the near future together?
Well, making more advantage of the location-based services and the IoT embedded already in the AP, and also the digital port from the IoT. So the Wi-Fi is just an overlay, just like your smartphone. Actually, you can call with a smartphone these days. My children, they don't know that. No. But,
that's true.
But we want to make some more advantage of the network. It has to be a network for the customers and the customer's experience. And Wi-Fi is just the normal thing at this moment.
A network as a platform for future elements, future growths, and other opportunities. Hey, Arjen, if you could share something to the audience that we have here, what would be a message to them? And don't repeat what... fast, smart, and a great experience. That's already awesome. We know that. But from your point of view, what would you say? What is for sure something that people want to know or need to know?
No, I think that for us it's for example, our goal in mind is total connectivity. Yeah. So that means in the first place that you can only create total connectivity together. Yeah. So in partnerships with others. Yeah. And we believe that the transition to a digital society is not possible without a stable, reliable, and safe infrastructure. And together in a total stack of Juniper Mist 128, it helps us to create a safer way of working. So
safer way of working.
Yeah,
excellent.
So further than only the full stack.
I took away stable, reliable. Now, would you say look back or look to the future? What would you say? Please say look to the future.
Well, both. Lessons learned from the back and take that with you to the future and see the opportunities that are ahead. So we learned a lot in the past half year. Yeah. And we're not done yet. So my mind is still blowing with new ideas and new technology, embedding them. Yeah. And so then we can implement them. So I think that's the great thing about this team together.
Yeah. Yeah, and we need to see a way to integrate the Kamado Joe, probably.
Also, and I think also relevant is that it's not necessary to think in problems.
No, absolutely.
Because instead we can think about offering and deploying services to our customers, so everything is possible.
Yeah, that is correct.
In that kind of
That is correct, Arjen. Thanks. Hey, Gaby, any last questions or words for our team at Volker Wessels?
Okay, hi guys. Really awesome to see you, and would be great to see each other live again as well. But I would like to thank you, of course, for the partnership as we have that today. It's very exciting to see how you guys are truly driving the end user experiences through out of the cloud or managed from out of the cloud into the full infrastructure, right, moving forward, and that you're building on top of that unique services to your customers going forward, right, driven and supported by our AI capabilities. So really excited and thrilled to have this partnership with you guys going on. So looking forward to see you again quickly.
Awesome. René, Arjen, big thank you very much for taking the time to be with us here. And I asked, this was leading the witness, don't look back, look to the future, but only look back to see that you don't make the same mistake again. And that's why I want to introduce or announce again, not the voice of an angel, but voice of angels, Astrid Bakker with Don't Look Back in Anger from Oasis.
Slip inside the eye of your mind. Don't you know you might find a better place to play? You'd said that you'd never been, for all the things that you've seen slowly fade away. So I start a revolution from my bed. You said the brains I had went to my head. Step outside, 'cause summertime's in bloom. And stand up beside the fireplace and take that look from off your face. You ain't never gonna burn my heart out. No. So Sally can't wait. She knows it's too late as we're walking on by. Her soul slides away, but don't look back in anger. I heard you say. So Sally can't wait. She knows it's too late as we're walking on by. Her soul slides away, but don't look back in anger. Don't look back in anger. I heard you say. At least not today.
Wow. Thank you, Astrid. Amazing. Don't look back in anger. Please don't. Only look forward. I have to now announce, if all is well, Elliot Townsend, my colleague and kick-ass engineer for BP. That was almost a slip of the tongue. Where Elliot, he's going to share with us our wire assurance component. We just had Volker Wessel Telecom doing a testimonial to us. They went for the full stack. Juniper Mist, driven by AI, is not only wireless, because a connection from a client is, of course, the first step is wireless, but that is handed over to a switch, to a router, and so forth and so on, and down to a cloud system. Elliot, are you there?
I am indeed. Can you hear me, yeah?
I can hear you well. So Elliot, if you could guide us through the field of wired assurance, what it is all about, how we simplify operations and give better visibility with this technology. Elliot, take it away, man.
Excellent. So just a quick introduction about myself, Elliot Townsend, systems engineer, assigned in the UK, probably you can tell by my accent. And I'm responsible for looking after what we class as major enterprise accounts. Obviously, what we're about to discuss now is very, very important. So, one of the big questions that I've sat back and reflected on the industry over the last few months is are we as an industry running out of ideas? The IT industry has a hard time explaining why growth, especially in productivity, has been shrinking. One theory that I can think of is that true innovation has got much harder. It's also got a lot more expensive, and business processes are kind of more solidified now. I'm a true believer of the power of ideas, and incredibly simple ideas that innovate are always the ones that are most effective. As an ex-ops engineer, I was constantly hoping for that platform that made my life easier, but that day unfortunately never came. I've really come to think that companies that are successful are really only really successful on the back of one or two simple ideas. I often get the feeling that they believe that they're good at everything, but the evidence really, if you actually look at it in any detail, is that they're about average at everything, except for one or two things that they happen to be really good at. Wouldn't it be excellent to use something that excels in everything that it offers? Well, Wide Assurance brings us there. I'm guessing that it took a long time for the first person to come up with the invention of the wheel. But once that was discovered, lots of other people started using that information to make their own wheels, to innovate. New ideas in this kind of environment can spread very easily, and they drive the forces of productivity growth. At first we had the stone wheel, not terribly efficient, but it got the job done. We went through many iterations of materials, such as wood, and that's essentially where we are today in the networking world when it comes to management platforms. It works. It's a tad bumpy, but it's all we have. Eventually, people have innovated with more materials, and we got to the rubber wheel, the current rubber wheel, but that took time, a lot of trial and error. And, you can almost sense that frustration of complacency of, wood is good enough. Well, we've all been experiencing the wooden wheel when it comes to management platform. And now we at Juniper Mist have the innovative platform, the one that is more efficient and usable, and much like the rubber wheel. I'd like to introduce to you guys Wide Assurance, the platform that I wish I had as an ops engineer. So the first piece of the puzzle of any operations is provisioning. ZTP, how many times has that term been used? Quite frankly, me personally, I'm sick of it. Half the time it's more of a medium touch ZTP, staging areas, etc., etc. And the other half of the time it doesn't actually work. You've seen the power of ZTP on the Mist APs of the QR code and the Mist app. Now, the same applies to the switching platform as well. Scan your QR code, use the Mist app, assign the switch to the site, label the switch, and voila, configuration is pushed down to the switch. True ZTP and a fully configured switch in a matter of minutes. If you do have a chance, quickly before I flick to the next slide, please scan the QR code for some interesting information if you want. I'll leave it up for 5 seconds before I skip. And on to the next piece. So, the big question. Did I ever care about any of these following things? It doesn't matter about me, but what about you guys? Do you ever care about the following? How often do you look at that list, and how often do you actually truly care about anything on that list? If the answer is yes, but only when you're deep in an ops issue, then I believe you. If the answer is yes all the time, then quite frankly, I call you a liar or a Superman. Your choice. If the answer is no, then welcome to the club. This information is never readily available. Now it's available at my fingertips across my entire switching estate, across my entire organization when using Wide Assurance, all in a proactive fashion that lets Marvis pick that up and alert me. So it's proactive. I'm not having to dig for that information. It's there. It's at the forefront. So what? I hear you saying, well, user experience in networking, everything leads to user experience, the holy grail. No matter how you look at it, everything all leads to user experience. Well, all of these issues affect the user in one way or another. These are service calls waiting to happen. What I would have actually given to be proactive on an issue in the past would have been blinking brilliant. How nice would it be for us as a networking team to be able to change the behaviors of our business and say that, hey, look, for once, it's not the network. How often does the network get blamed? In my experience, probably 99.9% of the time. And we spend most of our time trying to convince others that actually, do you know what? It's not us. It's not the networking team. I want to say no more to that. We have the chance finally to change the mindsets of people, say that it's no longer the network. That's not the first thing that people think of. This is only possible with Wide Assurance, and the entire Mist platform We have the data for the Wi-Fi already. Now we have the data for the complete edge with wired assurance. And in the near future, we have that data with WAN assurance. With WAN on WAN assurance. They say that data is power. That is true, but it's only as long as you know how to harbor and utilize that data. Lucky for us, we do. So, let's have a quick dive into a few of these, break them down a bit. So the first one, and possibly the most annoying of ops issues that I ever used to come across, bad cables. Here we can see, this is just a screen grab from a real live Juniper office. So here we can see that, Marvis has identified a few bad cables, 9 in this instance. Now, this is, as I said, it's across one of our live offices in the US. So, no demo here. This is real live flesh working environment and has been for many, many years. We then introduced wired assurance and look, 9 bad cables. No wonder the network's always blamed. I can hand my heart say that I've never managed to identify a bad cable during an ops issue. But what I can say is that I have swapped out many a cable during my time, and that has always resolved the issue. Frustrating, yes. Simple to fix, yes. Ability to identify without a site visit, pain in the bottom. Not anymore. Mist is able to identify those bad Ethernet cables to either a Mist AP, a wired client, or its uplink port, all proactively, no intervention from you at all. The second one, Quaz, a dark art in itself. One that I can admit, I am no master at, far from it, in fact. Anyone that I find that has truly mastered the art of Quaz, I find myself subconsciously bowing to them. We're not worthy. When you see that ops call come in that even mentions Quaz or congestion, you hope for the latter, as you hope it's just a bandwidth issue on the WAN, or you hope and pray that someone else picks it up so that you don't have to deal with it. Here again, another live environment that we can see, a congestion issue. A bunch of users are having issues with Microsoft Teams. Essentially all traffic has to go to the cloud, packets are getting dropped. You can either try and troubleshoot this for a month, typically with no conclusion and lots of downtime, or you can use Mist wired assurance to identify that the primary issue is due to incorrectly configured class of service from the gateway to the edge switch. And that congestion has been noticed across lots of switches, misconfiguration of any access layer switches on class of service. Fixing the configuration on the access layer made the Teams problem go away. I could go on and on breaking down each of those elements, but I hope you get the point. My time is very limited today, but I hope you get the point that, this is the information that we never knew we needed, and now we have it at our fingertips to improve our lives. The next piece of the puzzle, change management. Looking at the diagram, you probably think, well, this is Elliot's. You've oversimplified things quite drastically here with this diagram. You could argue that is probably true, but change configuration management is all about relationships. And what I wanted to show to you guys was the relationship between different elements and how powerful change management is when using wired assurance. For example, not limited to, put that caveat in, but we can make an organizational change that will affect all devices within my organization, whether they be a switch or an AP. We can make site changes that will affect all devices within that site. We can also apply labels to sites to categorize them and apply them into site groups, or we can apply labels to types of roles of devices. And we can then make changes based on those labels so that it will only affect those groups of sites or groups of devices that have that label attached to them. This again can be across a site, many sites, or a whole organization. We can create templates that can be applied to a labels or device or type or site. This is an instant push. It takes seconds. No longer are you needing to worry about changes taking ages and there being a massive change control, a massive rollout plan just for a new VLAN across your organization. For example, a new SSID on an AP and an associated VLAN switch can be applied to hundreds or thousands of switches and APs, and that only takes minutes. To actually see this in the flesh is where the real power of it actually is. So that kind of concludes very quickly a very quick run through of wired assurance and its capabilities. I've only brushed against the surface across the surface. Jan, I'm sure we'll be able to send out a link for demos. And if you're interested, please reach out to myself. And now you're probably thinking, Elliot, I don't want to see another switch. This isn't just another switch. What we deal with in the past is a a wooden wheel switch. This, what you're seeing right now, the EX4400, is the rubber wheel switch that we've all been waiting for. Comes in many different flavors in terms of port configuration, 1, 2.5, 5, 10 gig interfaces. But the real key bit is it's actually, it's the first cloud native enterprise switch. And what do I mean by that? Well, you're probably all aware of the LED on the Mist AP and what the flashing and the changing of colors actually does and what that provides us as operations and provisioning engineers. Well, we have the same cloud LED switch, the cloud LED on the switch, that gives us the same information that we have as a Mist AP. So it's no longer binary. It's not just a flashing switch that tells us that it's working or not working. It would actually give us, at a glance, some more information that will help us diagnose the issue. Rewinding to the provisioning piece that you saw, these come with a QR code, so it's nice and easy for us to deploy. Again, all managed by Mist Wide Assurance. It's also been deployed using micro-segmentation, so the boot up time's 3 minutes, so it's a lot faster as well in terms of deployment. What's not to like? This is the future. I would say it's the future. It's here now. It's ready from us. As I said, my time's completely limited today, so I do apologize. I won't bore you guys anymore. But to summarize, this is a completely different view of things. We are looking at things from a client perspective, and it's breathtakingly refreshing to have something that actually works and will make your lives easier. So if you want to know any more, as I said, please reach out to me or reach out to Jan. Yeah.
Elliot, thank you so much. This is marvelous. So what did we take away from this presentation? And thank you for maybe speeding a little bit up, Elliot, because we're running over time. Simple and easy. Yeah, you can have hundreds of switches, tens of switches, hundreds of switches, thousands of switches, but instead of trying to keep a match lit in a tornado, which is what we ultimately need to do, somewhere there is a port that is acting up, we immediately show it. Is that correct? Through our Marvis actions? Yeah. That is what we do. Correct. We deploy switches in no time, correct?
Correct.
We have a cloud native switch now that is the fast booting up, really high performance, all of that built for the cloud, correct?
Correct.
Built for microsegmentation. So the past is the past. Let it be. The present is speed and user experience first. That is what we do. Correct. Excellent. Correct. Thank you, Elliot. Thank you very much. We are now going to go over to our next testimonial, Bonnier News from Sweden. And with this also, folks, we had customer on an island on the shore of Portugal. We had a customer from the United Kingdom, from the Netherlands, and now we have Bonnier News out of Sweden. And we're going to first play an introduction of video of Bonnier News, and then we're going to welcome Dennis. Dennis, thank you very much for being patient. I know we're a little bit over time, but we appreciate it. Please, take it away. Dennis, a warm welcome, and apologies for the delay that we built up. Dennis, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. And you?
We're doing great, thank you very much. So Dennis, if you could share, what is your role and responsibility in Bonnier News at the moment?
Yeah, I'm the tech lead of networks, so responsible for the networks.
Yeah, that is
offices.
Yeah, so in a media company, that is not a small role, I would think, because and the network is down, news is not passing through. How correct is that statement?
Yeah, it's very correct. So we have different deadlines in different offices across the nation.
Yeah.
So we need to keep those deadlines, otherwise there will be no papers.
Yeah, that is true. No papers and no interviews. That is so correct, I guess. So Dennis, how did you get acquainted with Mist, or what was the track before we actually got into all your facilities?
Yeah, so we used to have a managed service for the Wi-Fi part, which we decided that we wanted to take home, and we decided on a vendor which suited, or it was the same vendor that supplied our firewalls. So we did a deployment of that at 2 of our offices, which never really got up to the standard that we wanted. So then we started to look around, and we came across Mist.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Mist. So what was making you fall in love, if I may say this, into Mist? What was really making that decision to, hey, you know what, this can be done better?
Yeah, well, the things that were appealing, if you look at it from the outside, I think is the cloud-based controller, the AI part, you've been into a lot with the user-driven experience parts of it, and I think one of the major things for me anyway is the presentation of the data or the information from the system that really sort of helps you instead of making you go through like millions of hours of documentation to understand them.
Yeah, reading. Plus also, I can imagine if you have a previous system, you probably need to do a lot of yourself data mining, going through log files, going through different systems to really capture that data.
If you have any in that system, otherwise you have to have a different or 3 or 4 different systems to actually get the data that you need to be able to solve the issues.
Yeah, and I see you're in many countries. Do you see yourself flying then all over the place to really get sometimes things fixed?
Well, not at the moment, no.
No, not at the moment.
Might happen.
No. This is great. So the decision is made. You've done your proof of concept, but now you had your existing platform, but that have to be migrated. Could you tell a little bit on how that really was happened, or how did we do this for you?
Yeah, so we actually did a lot of things at the same time. So we wanted to change the Wi-Fi. We also wanted to change the switches to the Juniper ones, and we wanted to replace the firewall or install a firewall. So we did 2 or 3 like test offices and set the routine for them. We also changed the subnets to make it a bit more complex for us. But then we sort of made a rollout plan that we could hand out to the local engineers or the local support teams for us. So I think we did 60 offices and about a couple of hundred switches, 60 firewalls in 4 months.
Yeah.
And I think it sort of just did them like 1 hour per office or something, depending on the size. But it was really, really smooth.
Yeah. No, wonderful. All right. So where are we going together in the future, Dennis?
Yeah, I think we're looking into the wired assurance part to get that as well.
Yeah.
That's the next step, and also branching out to our offices in Europe is the next step for us.
Okay, great.
I think the ease of it and the possibility to move the support questions from the network side of things and more to the first or second line part of the organization is really, really helpful if you get any support calls on it, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Any last comment you have for our audience?
Yeah, I think you should try it.
You think you should try it?
Yeah, it might surprise you.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much, Dennis. I really appreciate your time today, and thanks for your patience. All right. Next chapter is myself. I'm going to go through a demo on what is now making all these customers really buying into Mist? Why is this so fundamentally different than any other platform in the industry? So if we get to our platform, and the platform is we have it based in Europe, we have it based in the States. It is really scalable, very agile, as we've spoken before. But what is now fundamentally different with us than anything else in the world? It's really these SLEs, the service level expectations. We are not asking for you to set up baselines. That's not what we do. The system will, for you, share and or point out, print out what is now important. And we told you, or just Dennis, he shared with us, it's really simple to get into very deep analysis of data. And let's just say from a high level view, we can actually see immediately from the site, the entire organization, I can immediately see, these are now 3 sites, but if I have 20 sites, 100 sites, 1,000 sites, doesn't matter. I can have one overview on where things are not really going well. And from here, I can then dive into a specific site that I want to get more attention to. And we're going to group in connectivity parameters and performance parameters. And please, do reach out to your partners and so on for deeper dive demos, because these demos, I have lots of experiences with customers where we book 3/4 of an hour to go through this, to walk through this, and we easily end up in 2 hours and they say, wow, we need to try this out. But just to show you here, on a time to connectivity, 10% we failed. 10% we failed. Now we need to find out, why did this fail? And we go even deeper then, because we can now analyze, was it an authorization issue, an internet service issue, an association DHCP, and even that, a lot of our competition can see this. They say, we flash these numbers, but for us, that is not enough. We want to go deeper. So we went from the organization to a site level, and now I'm going to go really deep into what is now happening. And we're going to have here your statistics on, if I set up, I want to have a complete connection from my client to my application in around 2 seconds. And most of the time we succeeded. But if we then need to look into why did it fail, I can see over a timeline why did it fail. Because it could be a moment in your time that there were maybe a lot more clients than usual and so on, or maybe some APs that were down, or a configuration change that happened. We give you that visibility. Next step is, how is this distributed? What device is suffering the most? What access points are suffering the most? Wireless LANs and bands and so on. We can really give you these insights. But now here is the magic, because I can see here on the affected items. If we look into the all users and all usage, the 90% is going good, but that 10%, what device is getting now most or causing the most impact on that experience? And in this case, we see here a huge failure rate with a big impact for this Mist 13S Mini, which is a Mac device with a Shadow operating system. So if I click now on this one, so you see I went from the organization to the site, to the performance of that site, down to now a device. And what we can see here, we're going to give you some information on that your help desk already get some insights what could cause this issue. And as you can see here, the problem is client specific. So now here is the issue. When something is client specific, this could be a user that is something not doing right, that the username or password is not the right username and password, but it could also be that there is a driver that is causing the issue, or that there is maybe a firmware causing an issue. So now you, as an end user or your partner, need to take sniffer traces, packet captures, log files, all these things. It's a very tedious and long process. So let me show you what we do here. We can go even deeper, and now we go down to the performance of the device itself, and we're going to see how that radio actually is behaving. And we can see here, we got some client events, some good, some neutral, but the bad events we want to know. Because when something is bad, that is probably the root cause why these things cannot connect. And that is what we have here. We see we have some authorization issues. That's why it was failing. And I thought there were earlier some DHCP issues as well. Yeah, but what is now important here, and why I point this out, because we are not expecting you to go on a witch hunt to really see where the problems are in your network. No, our system already downloaded the packets for you that you can actually see and double click on what is now causing the problem into your network, that you have here the packet capture ready to send out to your partner, your vendor that is failing is like, hey, here is a problem, or the DHCP capture, this is the problem. That is what we do really well, and share that, make your life a lot easier. But that is not all. That is not all. Gaby, would you be satisfied with this? What is missing in this whole story?
Now, what is missing is that you clearly would like to find out what the connectivity is, well, what the related items are, right? Because machine learning is gathering all this information, but the artificial intelligence around it is making it tangible, and it paints a whole picture, right?
Yeah.
So that's what's missing.
Yeah, correct, Gaby. And this is where we're going to personify Marvis. Marvis is really helping you in getting things done. And that is what we have in our conversational interface. Marvis is growing up, and it's growing up every day of the week. Where in Marvis, I can actually have just show me the unhappy users right now into the network. And it's going to give me immediately an overview. You see there, Everest, this MAC address, Denali, and the MIS-13S. These are the devices that are having issues. And from here, I can then really just click through. And now Marvis is troubleshooting this device. And you see, now you can interact with our conversational interface. This could also be integrated with Slack or with Teams, that the help desk per se don't have to have access to our system, but just through Slack or Teams, inviting Marvis into the conversation and adding it to that conversation with really pinpointing where things potentially could go wrong. Another thing I want to add to this here, and I'm going to use my system from home because I know there is an issue with a specific thing. Roaming issues are so hard to figure out. So if there are any issues on roaming with a device, you can just select that specific device and say, hey, you know what? For this week, show me the roaming patterns. And now I can immediately see how a specific device has been roaming. This has already been very, very helpful in troubleshooting a lot of connectivity issues in big warehouses, in hospitals, in stores. It is just truly amazing, because think about the following. If you have IoT devices, that is not an easy thing to do. If you have a phone, if you have an iPhone or an Android-based phone, there is not directly a CLI interface or a command line interface where you can say, hey, troubleshoot deep that connectivity, and then try to find it out. That is exactly what we hear. And we can follow roaming on floor plans or in tables to really see how these things are going about. And then last but not least, as Elliot shared with us, we've looked at our service level expectations from the wireless point of view. We're doing the same thing for wired. Again, out of all these switch ports, all these switches, and everything you have in the world, it's really distilling it down to this port is having an issue. That is what we need to fix. And that is a huge challenge that you have, and we need to bring that to your attention. Right, the same for wired and for WAN. And one of the next things that we're going to have here in WAN, it's not available here, is we have gateway health, WAN link health, but we're also going to give you application experience health. That is just around the corner to have it here, so that really user experience first, end to end, you see it coming alive here right now. Okay. That being said, Gaby, anything that I'm missing here? Is there something still that I need to demo? What do you think?
I think you've showed on the part of the wireless side of things where you can just customize any service level expectation you like with your customer or with your end user, so to say. You've shown the wired assurance part of that. Connecting into the switching part, and you've shown the first elements of the integration when it comes to the wide area networking with the 128 session-based routing on top of that coming, right? So I do think that makes a lot of sense. What I really would like to stress out as well, when it comes to the use of Marvis, Marvis is really your digital assistant, so to say, into your IT help desk, and that gives you actually numbers of people at your help desk to help you find and solve issues for you moving forward. And with the unique capability of to leave the traditional way of troubleshooting behind, which is usually horizontal focused, and then going in depth, so to say, within the issue. And Marvis is really there as a digital assistant, just to diagonal help you out straight to the end user and to fix the problems around that. Yeah, very well said, Jan. Thank you.
Thanks, Gaby. All right. And by the way, we're just talking here about the day N operations. As we said, day 0, day 1 operations, getting things configured. It requires a little bit longer demo, but please do reach out to your partners, do reach out to your known contacts inside Juniper. We're very happy to schedule a longer time or a one-on-one session with you. All right, without further ado, I want to introduce, as I said, towards the end of the call, we have BP, we have Stuart Moffat, if all is well lined up. But before we're going to go there, we need to start our video about BP and where do they go in the next future. If all is well, we have Stuart Moffat. Hey, Stuart, good afternoon. Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
We are doing fine. I always have a problem with saying fine. I call it that more like freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. I think we are anything but fine, then we're doing good. How about yourself, Stuart?
Yeah, good. Thanks, good. Enjoying the event. That was interesting stuff.
Excellent. Good to know. is it the correct way to introduce you, Stuart? You are the leader for mobility into your retail division. Is that more?
Yeah, so I look after the mobility and convenience platforms, the connectivity platforms for those. So the mobility and convenience is some of the stuff you saw in that video around the retail estate, the existing retail estate, where we have forecourts and shops and such like. And alongside that, things like the EV chargers by the side of the road, and increasingly in the large fleet hub charging stations.
Yeah, yeah, wonderful. So BP, a huge company, global company. Yeah. What an honor to be here with you. But what was kind of like the scope you had in mind in the past? Because this event is about past, present, future. So before we were together as two different organizations partnering up, what was the scope you were looking for?
Yeah, so the retail network estate, which is where we primarily will be putting the Mist Juniper solution, composes about 18,000 sites across the world. Each of those in about 17 countries. Each of those have different solutions, different standards, and different ways of doing things. All of them, in their own way, very good. But certainly not joined up in under a common standard. And not quite ready for some of the stuff that you saw in that video about the revolution that we're planning within the company, and specifically within retail. So we went to market with an RFP with 22 different suppliers involved in that across the world, looking for, including incumbents and new suppliers, looking for a solution. And we went to that with a couple of 2 or 3 options around the technology, around things we used, things we liked. And Juniper Mist was in there. And through that conversation with the suppliers across the world, we eventually narrowed it down to the Juniper Mist solution and our partner, NTT, who have taken that on. And the solution that we're trying to deliver across the world is a common wireless solution, a common switching, common gateway. And that's transforming the way that we provide the services to the business to allow them to deploy the new digital capability that we need within our stores. So being able to provide Internet of Things capability, so monitoring what's happening in the store, monitoring who's in the store, how long people are spending, what's the status of the fridges, the freezers, the ovens, and all those kind of things. Yep. And providing a wireless for our new digital handheld solutions that we're using throughout the store for stock taking, for ordering, and those kind of things. Although a lot of that's moving to an AI solution as well. But yeah, that capability was something that really stood out from the solutions that we were looking at.
Yeah. No, thanks for sharing this. What I took out of it is like you started with 22 vendors. That has then been destiled to a handful of vendors where you probably went in proof of concept. Finally, decision was made on Mist. But hey, Mist, we're going full stack. Other vendors could do this too. So what was really for you and the organization standing out here where you said, hey, this is really uniquely different on Mist, and that is why,
Yeah. So I mean, absolutely, it's the things you've been showcasing today around the ability to have an insight into the network around what's going on. I mean, Elliot talked earlier on about the network being the point of blame, and us often having to prove ourselves innocent before anyone's really understood what the problem is. And absolutely, that's true across 18,000 sites. I'm sure there are pictures of me on dartboards across the world for all the problems I'm sure I'm causing to the applications, or at least that's the way it feels. So the ability to have insight into the wireless network, into the wired network, and then when we have released that final part of it, the WAN as well for the SD-WAN solution that we're building, that will be these capabilities that we need to manage this network, to have insight into what's going on. So yeah, I mean, very much the very different way of managing, very different way of understanding what's happening in the network that we saw from the Mist addition to the Juniper suite.
Yeah, yeah, great, thanks. So we are talking here about how we can help you, but were there any in particular improvements across your network with introducing Juniper Mist into your stores?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously we're right at the start of this process. We've got a couple 1,200 something like that APs live right now across 300 or so sites, and the ability to see what's going on, to be able to understand where the issues are, to diagnose, just the example you showed, a bad cable, etc., or Elliot showed. That kind of capability, and to narrow down quickly into what's going on. The previously, well, I suppose the other thing is being able to, is not just me being able to see that, because I don't spend an awful lot of time fixing these things, although you can see it now at least, is being able to give those tools to our front line, to the first line folks, the people that are working on the service desk and the level 2 folks. So, having done that job some time ago, I understand how difficult it is if you're blind to what's going on. But having the ability to give the service desk the Marvis chat box and have them interrogate the site using relatively straightforward language as to what's going on and how do they fix that and what do they recommend and what's the next step. That was a massive enabler for us, or will be a massive enabler for us. What a massive opportunity we saw within the solution, and we've just started giving that capability out. And previously, the only tool the help desk had was a reboot.
Oh wow! Yes.
Yeah. So that which when you're dealing with the little small DSL routers or whatever, that's fine. You reboot those things as often as you want. But when you start putting in enterprise strength firewalls with spinning disks and those kind of things, you don't really want to be rebooting those. So so that was one of the main capabilities that we saw as an advantage with the solution.
No, this is good. Now, Stuart, I know some of the countries where you're deploying the system, and I know Mist has a totally different meaning in that language. So what was the reaction of... Sorry?
I heard that too. Yeah. I don't know if I haven't actually. Well, obviously with lockdown, I haven't been to Germany or anywhere where Mist means something very different. But so far, I've not been told in English the same thing. So.
Yes, but could you share some of or the reaction of your team or maybe your colleagues outside of the team? Because at the end of the day, Mist is only there for 6 years. I started my career in '97 with a company called Telzon Corporation. For those who know this on the call, they're as old as I am, but I was part of a product group that was called Aeronet. And Aeronet is still there today, where Mist, it's so new. So did you get any reactions, or did somebody say, hey man, what have you been smoking?
No, I don't think so. And I think the capability that we saw and the sales pitch that you guys have provided, and the fact that we're now seeing that evident. No, we didn't get that challenge. I mean, certainly from when we were talking to different suppliers in there as part of the RFP, there were quite a few raised eyebrows about going with something which was quite new. But some of the suppliers actually recognized the value and really went after that. So hence where we are.
Yeah. Gaby, is there something you want to ask to our friend Stuart? Gaby is my counterpart, so I'm the technical side. My friend Gaby is the commercial side. So
yeah. So thank you, Jan. Stuart, very nice to meet you and see you like this. I'm just wondering, could you also share something about the revenue side of the equation? Because that's where you guys are also looking at or have been looking at to deploy.
Yeah. So I think we heard earlier on about the zero-touch provisioning, and there is a massive advantage in being able to do that from a commercial perspective, because you have less people doing less things, and therefore you can deliver the solution much more easily. So that has a commercial benefit. We are also managing, because of the zero-touch deployment, we're able to give the spares and give the replacement job to someone that isn't a network skilled engineer. I could do it. So they can swap that hardware out rather than having to send somebody with a console cable who's going to configure it. And that's great because it means you can do much more quickly, and we can invest money in skilling up engineers that actually get into the detail and have the ability to run the automation and to run the deep config and to understand how to get the best out of Marvis and the tools and provide that to the level 1, level 2 folks. So we're investing money in skilling up engineers internally, and rather than having to have more people on the ground with console cables driving from one site to another. And that point about driving from one site to another is another massive point for us. We are measured very, very closely on our carbon emissions. The program that we're running is being tracked for that, and our operations are tracked for that. So being able to have a solution that is deployed to the stores without having to go through distributor to warehouse, from warehouse to another distribution point, from distribution point to the stores is a great enabler, because it's that whole middle part of the journey is cut out, and we go straight from from factory to distribution to store. And that's something that we count as a benefit, and we will keep tracking as we go through the program and hold ourselves and hold you guys to that.
Yeah, sure. And great, thanks for sharing that. That brings me to another question. What we actually currently, we encounter a lot of new things. We bring new things to the table, right, through AI, and that brings new kinds of benefits through our customers, right? And I'm just wondering, could you share something of that? Have you you and your team experienced any new things which you have, let's say, improved on?
Well, as yet, because we're right at the beginning of the process, we haven't made massive use of that. But we see the capability, the benefit, potential within the wireless tracking, within the Bluetooth beaconing, and being able to tie those things together with customer presence and help the customer find the thing they're looking for in the store, or track the customer journey through the store. So yeah, those are the things that we will look to do as we roll this out. But as I say, we're right at the start of that journey. I guess that's all future. That's not quite present yet.
Yeah, exactly. No, that makes a lot of sense. So thanks for that.
All right, cool. Maybe one last question, Stuart. So past, present, future. Where do you see where we're going in the future? I know one of the obvious answers is scale to all the other stores or roll it out to the other stores. But is there maybe a little other tip of the sheet we could lift up?
And I think we heard again today a little bit about the capability that you've brought in through the 128 acquisition, and that enablement and of the SD-WAN capability. That's where we're looking to get from. Is as we move more and more workload to the cloud, how do we get that? How do we make best use of the services that we have, the connectivity, whether that's to the AWS or to Azure or to another cloud provider, or back to the head office or whatever. How do we make use of that across the whole network, be informed by it, and make the right decisions, or allow the network to make the right decisions about what goes where.
Right. Okay. Stuart, many thanks for your time here. Is there maybe something you would like to give away to the audience? It's like, hey man, try it, do it, like the other one. What's your message for the world?
Yeah, I think as I say, we're at the beginning of this. I think it was really good to hear on this session from folks that have deployed it, that are saying the same thing as you guys. We're looking forward to being able to roll this out to do that in the low carbon, low touch point perspective and method rather, and make the benefits felt across the whole of the organization.
Awesome.
Oh, and also you owe me 2 beers, because twice I heard you nearly say at least British Petroleum.
That's right.
Let's make it 6. Apologies for this, Stuart. But I caught it in time, I think. I caught it in time. So proud to have your 18,000 locations with BP up to the next phase. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you for your business. we are down to the closure of our session. Thanks, Stuart. And there are some key takeaways. So we were speaking about the past. Could you guys share the slides? My computer, I think. So the past migration from the past to the present, it's not always easy, but you've heard here from our customers, check, we can do this. The present, really making sure everything is running, everything is up to speed, everything is under control, check, we have done. Thanks to our platform, where we're going with the smart session router or session smart router, where we're going with the agility of our platform, where we're going with, as you can see here, all these customers have our platform to build their future on. That is what we do. Check. This is the network for the next decade that we built. And the network for the next decade is not about turning on the lights. That is really not. The network for the next decade is really giving you a platform where you can enable other services to grow your business. Call to action for you guys is please connect. Please connect with your partners. Please connect with your Juniper representatives. But most important is please connect with our artificial intelligence. Please connect with our AIDE network. And also, as on our shirts, please connect with Marvis. We are here. Got Marvis? If not yet, please get it into your business. That being said, I want to close off with one of our last songs from Astrid Bakker. And I think it's a very it's a meaningful song because don't stop here now from Fleetwood Mac. Please do not stop. Again, this is the beginning of a journey. This is a beginning of a journey to make your lives easier, to have it light and breezy. Thank you very much. Gaby, any last comments?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And as a wrap up, I would really would like to invite every customer here to just check in on all the contacts you have through our partner landscape, but also with the Juniper Mist colleagues you are talking to. We are very much aware that we bring new kinds of benefits to you. So let's jointly investigate on those and find out what AI can truly mean for you. And because as you have seen, that will bring you a lot of savings and efficiencies in your operations, but also a lot of possibilities to truly go through that transformation of digitalization and what that can offer to your business and your organization moving forward. And that's about it. So thank you for your attendance, and over to you, Jan, as a closure.
Yeah. And it doesn't stop here. Sorry, I forgot almost to mention, but I got somebody here from the crew. Next Mist Live event is on the 18th of November, and we do hope to really turn it back into a live event. The previous one was just me because it was deep in COVID. As you see, we're getting a little bit more open. We have, of course, with social distancing, we have already more people into our studio, and also Astrid Stockman, our beautiful singer, not only beautiful in person, but also beautiful voiced, with Don't Stop from Fleetwood Mac.
If you wake up and don't want to smile, if it takes just a little while, open your eyes and look at the day. You'll see things in a different way. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. All I want is to see you smile. If it takes just a little while, I know you don't believe that it's true.